Charme, Imhotep. I see Restream has changed things yet again. I was already to put in a description. Just accepted the title. How is everyone this evening on this day of or evening of the winter solstice? We say Nen for winter solstice, which means the absence of movement, and that's a yoga pose. Also, we say Baraku, which means blessed, blessings. Barek for blessed. So Nen Barek, blessed solstice. Please share that we're on the air. We're doing brief ceremony tonight and a talk about what being awake really is. Tonight's topic is awakening from Woke-ism and Hoteps. Awakening from Woke-ism and Hoteps. Done a lot of processing since the last time I've been on with you all. A lot. And I'm grateful for the insight, especially on a day like today when we are focused on the inner work in order to bring out the light, the celebration of light and the light that is within and without, and connecting with people who really are of the light. Jennifer Grant, how come you have? Is that for the tree, the Heteru tree? You can go back and see another one of my episodes to find out the origins of the tree of life and how Kemites celebrated by offering, by giving offerings, by decorating. Yes, how come you have a tree? So, okay, so this is part of the situation too, because, in our community, we have a lot of folks who have just put out a lot of misinformation about traditions that really do belong to us and that we have been discouraged away from. And that's because lack of knowledge. This is why it's important to study and find out the truth and to not feel pressured into being just like everybody else who is saying certain things against certain traditions, but who don't know what the real deal is, and the fear of being criticized. And this is part of the problem with the so-called woke and hotep community. We'll get into that later. That is my tree of life. The symbols on it are Anku or Anks, and there are Merkut pyramids, and what else do I have? The Sishen, which is the lotus. Different symbols that are associated with Heteru and also with Kemetic culture and also with truly what being awake is. Also understanding the roots, pardon the pun, of the tree of life and the divine matriarchy. Maria, it's so good to see you. I never ever saw your email. And so let's try to connect again, please. I'm hoping that all is well. So anyway, I've had a tree for, I would say, about 2011 is when I started putting up a Heteru tree. And I very happily have been putting up a tree every year. So, if people don't like it, that's not my business. You ain't in my house. You ain't got to be on my podcast, okay? It's okay. We all have our choices in life. But in the meantime, I know there have been plenty of people who are part of the so-called conscious community, or people who are trying to grow, trying to become awakened, who are really delighted about being able to reclaim this tradition, which we had been eschewed away from. For those who are so-called awakened, so-called conscious, so-called in the know, who really don't know what the heck they're talking about. Okay? Thank you for all the information. I love your storytelling with my girls. Storytelling with my girl. Oh, give thanks and praise. All right. Yes. This is a season of light. We have several celebrations that take place that start from what we know is Thanksgiving, and that's the ushering in of the Het Heru season. I have plenty of material regarding that. Our other celebrations that we do, I was going to come every single night with all. We have so many, so many. We celebrate Het Heru. We celebrate Knit. We celebrate Bast as well. And Brandon is good to see you. Good evening. So, but once you know, and the information is in my book. So once you know, you can feel free to celebrate because our ancestors did. You know, this whole thing about people trying to pressure you into being like the rest of the group when they ain't got it all together. Listen, those days are over, over. And it's not just the conscious community, and it's also for organizations that claim to be for the community. I will get to that, okay? I put in enough work on myself, these many years. And considering the fact that I'll be 65 next year, listen, wisdom has got to kick in at some point. And especially because of the fact that, truthfully, I've done so much research in learning how to practice the Kemetic faith, because the fact that there is information that's given, there's a lot of information that wasn't given. So I had to go and find it and retrieve it and bring it back to the community so we would know how to practice. That is what Shanu is. Shanu is the full circle practice of the Kemetic faith, honoring also the origins of the Kemetic water tradition in Mamiwata. And that deals in truth, revelation, clarity. Who are you around? Who do you choose to be around? What is the result of the certain people that you have been around? And are you still trying to hang on to folks who are nothing but dead weight in your life and who really don't have any true purpose other than to pull you down? Listen, on this NEN, we're going to focus on pulling in the light. We're going to focus on what always shedding that negative energy, but also living in truth. Unkin my eights, living in truth, okay? Got my little gold copper color cup tonight. Get your water ready. And we're going to be doing ceremony tonight. We're going to be doing Huey Kures differently tonight. We're going to be doing a different set of invocations. And so let's get started. Again, please share. Well, actually, let me just take a moment, if y'all don't mind, to do some sharing on social media. One of these days, I will get my Instagram hooked back up to this. You know, listen, I'm trying to honor all different aspects of my life, but I'm also trying not to beat myself up so much. And let's see here we go. How is everybody this holiday season? I'm hoping that you're feeling joy. I had a really great day today. You know, I've been getting over walking pneumonia. I had to postpone an event. I went to my doctor again this week. And once again, the whole thing about honoring, I was supposed to have a fashion show. I postponed it. Thankfully, the library is very giving and forgiving. And we're going to set yet another date for it. I'm learning, just don't push. There's certain things you should push for, but other things, listen, there's a way. I'm finding there's always a way when it comes to doing what is for the better good. So that means sometimes humbling yourself and saying, you know what, if I do this right now, then it's going to put my health in peril. And right now and every day, your health is a priority, especially if you've had a history of health problems. So you should honor what your body says. And also, if you are with the correct people, then you'll find that they are supportive of you and that they will work with you. So give thanks for those who are going to be coming and who were going to be modeling for me and who have said, listen, when you're ready, we're here. Give thanks. Okay, let's see. It's always so interesting when I go to Facebook. Okay, a new season of light, 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 light. When you're in the water tradition, you find you're not just dealing with water. You've got to go through all of the elements. And if you are on the path, you'll find that the longer you're on the path, the more opportunities that the divine will bring to you to become refined in every single element. Uh-huh. If you're really devoted to this path, which is a good thing. The thing is, you also get to see the truth about who you are and about your world and the choices that you make. And you learn about the different energy patterns that exist within each element. There's so many aspects. I mean, just water alone has skadiated me. So many. But it's the same with every single element. And then learning the facets of every element. Who you get to learn what it feels like when you're around people who are no good for you. You learn to feel what it feels like when you're around people who are good for you. You learn what it feels like when there are people who are masquerading. And you really learn to listen to and watch the energy and the patterns, because once you do, then you can learn how to either work through them or sidestep them altogether, which is not a bad thing. Let me see. I'm supposed to be here on Facebook here sharing this. Let me turn my sound down too, so I'm not hearing myself. Okay. Which also meant that I just turned off our music. But as I was saying, how is everybody doing? Please just take a moment. And Ashley Moore, hey, how you doing? You know what? My algorithms must have shifted, because all these folks that I used to see all the time on my feed um, 10 years ago are now popping back up. I don't know what shifted. I don't know if it was just the energetic shift I made. But Ashley, it's so good to see you. And then also with some new pictures that I knew in EW pictures that I put up, um, I found that there were all these people who responded where, I literally was saying to myself, where did some of these folks go? And then I found out that, listen, well, one, I'd gotten blocked off of one Facebook page. My Queen Mother Imaku page, that is my profile page. I can't get back in it. I've been trying for years, and I can't, they asked me to submit documentation to prove who I am. This was years ago. And I submitted it, and then it said, thank you. We'll review your paperwork and get back to you. But then I still get notifications for what's happening on that page, but I can't get to the page. So that's how, I've been saying, these people, they're popping up on my, in my email, so-and-so posted this, so-and-so posted this. I'm like, I can't get to them. So, because not everybody is directly connected to me on my other Elaine Lloyd Nazario profile. But again, things are working themselves out. Now, let me see. I'm taking this time to share. Let me tell you something. If you all could just, again, take a moment and share, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And why this is not letting me. Let me wait a minute. Let's do it this way. Switch out of this and go to this. There's always a way. With technology, you've really got to be patient, because things change all of the time. It's important to stay keyed into the changes as well. Otherwise, you get left behind. There are folks who still will insist, very proudly, no, I don't know anything about the internet. No, I'm not online. No, I don't know how to do whatever. And okay, okay, but that leaves you somewhat helpless. If you choose not to be in a place of awareness, and also to stay committed to and involved with the world around you and um, everything that it requires for you to stay contemporary in it, then what can I say? I can't really say anything. All right, that's enough for saving for right now. All right, back to our music. Okay. Praying that the way will be open. Beseti Besu. I'm just going to use this as our invocation tonight. Focusing on the positive ways to be open, for the doors that are unnecessary and harmful to be closed, and asking for protection as we are guided to portals of renewal, asking for reunion with the soul in all of our aspects, for all of the trauma that we have been through to be worked through, for us to be able to retrieve the lost parts of ourselves, and to be able to be awakened and prosper. Give thanks. Think for a moment of your ancestors, well, longer than a moment. You are here because of the work that somebody else put in for you in your bloodline. You are here because of others who have been here before, who believed in you, who had a sense of duty to you, and who poured into you. We are grateful. They poured into us. We pour libation to them. In this moment, starting with your maternal bloodline, the last names of those who are considered ancestors, those who walked circumspectly and had positive influence on yourself and on the world. We pray for their elevation, calling out the names. Ms. Blackman, Kojin, Exum, Healy, Whitley, Artis, Ortiz, Aldridge, Anderson, Aldridge, Lloyd, Yates, McLaughlin, Myers, Murray, Mosley, Salmon, Ely, Clyburn, Mayfield. And now all the people who are not in your bloodline, but who are in your circle, who had a positive influence on you, but now are in the ancestral realm. Thanks and praise. So you give honor to them. You would take what you have poured when we are finished and take it outside. You could pour it across your door sweep. You can pour it down your steps. It is there for ancestral connection, but also for your protection from the ancestors. Give thanks. Don't drink from this glass. I mean, you can empty it and wash it and then drink from it, but don't pour into it and then drink from it, okay? Give thanks. Let's do a quick meditation. How's the balance for the music? Before we go any further, let's speak loving words into our water. Mer, which is love. Merit, which is love and success and to be beloved. Wuja, Ankuja Seneb, life, health, strength. Anuk Neferet, I am good, beautiful, successful. Anuk Sekim, Anuk Sekemet. I am strong. Give thanks. Anuk Emkut. I am of light. Kaini. I elevate. Ma'ani. I see. Duau. Let me take a moment and remind you of the importance of having some kind of inclusive activity if you have children, if you have grandchildren. Jennifer, I'm grateful that you are spending time with your family. For all of you, I hope you have the opportunity. But if you are raising little ones, then listen, we can have our beliefs about certain things, but you must replace whatever it is that you're saying that you don't believe in. Otherwise, your children are going to run to the very thing that you're trying to exclude them from. This is why I've spoken so ardently and fervently about the importance of reclaiming our traditions and introducing them to our children, but also to our community, because our ancestors gave us so much. In the Kemetic tradition alone, there's so much that is being practiced around the world right now during this holiday of light that came out of ancient Kemet. But the biggest thing is, even if you just develop your own family traditions, you have to have something. Okay? All right. Okay. So, meditation. I want you to just make sure that you're grounded. We're going to envision ourselves in a circle of light. Shanuam Ku, Shanuam Kut, circle of light. And again, how's the balance of music? Is it okay? Is it loud enough? Is it too loud? Okay. You're welcome, Jennifer. Give thanks. Okay. Let's take some nice deep breaths. In the practice of Kemetic yoga that I developed, and I've been sharing my own personal practice for the last 11 years. I had kept it to myself prior to that, only because I know that there are different systems out there, and I'm not one who's trying to compete. I am one who is trying to share what is my truth, my experiences based on my research from being a yogini since the age of 12, and also being a Kemetic faith practitioner and scholar who does research every day, was able to really see, oh, wait a minute, this is this pose. No, this is really called this. No, this is this, and sometimes thinking, oh, it's this, but then realizing later, no, and making the correction. I've only shared my notes with 3 individuals. 3. One, someone who graduated back in, oh gosh, was it 2018, I guess? And then also recently with 2 of my trusted students. That's it. I safeguard this. I teach it. I teach it openly. I've been teaching it to young people, to elders, and so forth. The way of introducing themselves to Kemetic yoga and spirituality, but mainly as a way of cultural reclamation, and also cultural education as they also become strengthened in the practice of Ika. But I'll be, I've been reluctant, but I'm going to be opening things up again now as we go into a new season of living, a new season of awareness, and a new season where we need to have as much enlightenment as we possibly can. Cannabis Maximus, hey, what's up? Peace and blessings. It's so good to see you. So good to see you. Please share that we're here, we're live on the air as we get ready to go into meditation. And so I was starting to say the terms that we use in the Shenri practice. Inhale is sarek, sarek, inhale. Exhale is nifa. Okay? And so get yourself grounded and centered. Inhale, sarek, nifa. Sarek, nifa. Sarek, nifa. Relax your breathing. In our practice, we do things in a series of threes because 3 is the number for opening and initiation, engaging, okay? Activation. So as you see yourself encircled in light, glorious light of positivity, of truth, of wonder, of beauty, of self, let's focus on drawing in energy from the divine from above and into the crown. Herit. One of the things I did was retrieve the names that we should use for the Aritu. Herit, the crown. The glorious, glorious, luminescent, silver, gold, lavender, white. Pulling the energy now down to the brow. The deep indigo color, the place of truth, the first eye. As we continue to balance out our energy, we now bring it down into Neferet, the throat. Place of speaking truth, owning your throne, manifesting from what you say, from sounds, and down into Hat, the heart area. And the throat was blue, heart area is green, beautiful, vibrant green. The place of love, expansion of goodness. And now into Songti, the solar plexus, beautiful yellow, place of awakening, Anuk Nehes, I am awake. It is walking the walk, talking the talk. It is revelation. It is the courage to live in the truth of your path. It is divine alignment with the source. As the ego, the negative ego is put aside, the positive aspect of self comes into the divine alignment with your purpose. Anukweemwe, I'm one with the one. Now moving down to the area of procreation. Musekrer, vibrant copper, orange color. A place of joy, creativity, finding new people to associate with who are on the same path or seeking out the same things. People who bring new levels of awareness to you. but you recognize that you're on this journey together, finding new playmates, if you will, who you walk with this in this game of life, and creating joyfully. And now moving down to Rud, the root, the tailbone, all the way down to your feet, vibrant red color. Being rooted and grounded. The best elements of your family, Anukardi, I am secure. Drawing the things to you that will bring you safety and security, people to you who will bring you safety and security. Moving away from things that are dangerous, that are harmfully dangerous. Calling in security. Knowing who you are. Anuk, I am. Foundation, structure. And now let all of the negative energy leave your body and go into the earth. The earth can absorb it, yes. It will transmute and heal. Giving thanks for the lessons learned, and now welcoming the new as we bring in fresh, vibrant energy through the feet, up through the legs. Back through the sacral, Usakrer, invoking that joy, openness to create. And now Sunkti, the divine light that bathes you, that guides you, that is you. To the heart, as you are overflowing with self-love, but not in a vain or narcissistic way. Self-love in a way that is healthy. You should love yourself because you are a reflection of the divine, which exists within and without. And now letting that love pour over to others, your family, your community. And acknowledging the divine effect it has on our world. Now moving up to the throat, beautiful blue, Neferet. Place of Makeru, which is just and right speech. And now back up to the brow, deep indigo. Being in touch with that sacred first eye energy. The intuitive self, which is connected to our higher self in Cherit, the crown. Inhale, Sadek. Nifa. Sadek. Nifa. Sadek. Nifa. Relax your breathing. As you now connect that crown energy with Heri, your higher self, from Cherit to Heri, the higher self. That sacred part of yourself that remembers your mission, your talents, and helps to keep you aligned. And now sending that to the divine source of Nebuchadnezzar, the great all, the great oneness, the divine. Giving thanks for divine connection. Now as I count down from 10 to 1, we'll take in deep breaths with each count, feeling that connectedness, feeling yourself awashed in light, in beauty, encircled in goodness, and all that is right for your path. 10. Serek Nifa. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Open your eyes. Hands in prayer pose, Sharer. How's everybody? Take a few sips of your water. Let's check in. Everybody good? Whew. You can shake out your hands if you need to. Tight fist. Tight, 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 tight. And let it go. Shake it out. Stretching your fingers and extending from the shoulders. Stretch, 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 stretch. And let it go. Shake it out. Charlene, it's good to see you. Washing the hands. No, I'm sorry. Rubbing the hands. Washing the hands. Interlace the fingers and stretch. And dancing hands. Okay. Give thanks and praise. Maria, you good? Give thanks. All right. And then stillness, the solstice, the two guardians who are depicted in the symbol for solstice are Aset and Nebuchadnezzar. So you have the light of Aset, the shadow of Nebuchadnezzar, but they work together because Aset is aware that she needs to acknowledge her shadow self. The shadow self of Nebuchadnezzar offers choices to us. Choices. The consequences that come from the choices that you make. They bring enlightenment. And the both of them on either side are upholding the sun. It's necessary to have both energies in order to fully become awakened. Why? Nebuchadnezzar also represents the intuition. And both energies represent the first eye, the wujat. We need that intuitive sense in order to be successful in life and in order for us to truly become awakened. Now, what does it mean to be awake? We hear of wokeism right now. We've been hearing that for the last, since George Floyd. And, it seemed like it was a good thing. So here's wisdom. Wisdom is where you're able to examine something. We say degeg. Degeg, or to dig, is to examine in the Kemetic language. And it's depicted by a man digging in. He's got his foot on a shovel. So you've got to dig, you've got to look, you've got to examine what works, what doesn't work, what has been successful, what has failed. When we persist in those things that are harmful and not working, that is not wisdom. Wisdom is recognizing, all right, we tried this, or we experienced this, and it wasn't so great for us. So now we need to shift into something else. Trisha, how are you? It's good to see you this evening, Mood. It's good to see you. And I'm hoping that your holiday season is really wonderful, as for everybody. And so let's continue our holiday season with wisdom. And now let's examine exactly what is wokeism and also the situation with the Hoteps. Now, I was having a conversation with one of our founding elders in the Kemetic tradition who is experiencing some serious health problems. And I'm seeing if there are others who are in the consciousness, the cultural consciousness, spiritual circles, who also, folks who are experiencing serious health challenges. But this one who was the founder of the lineage that I belong to is really going through. And he was sharing with me when I called to check in on him recently, how much damage the Wokeism community and the Hotep community has done to Kemetic culture. Why is that? Well, when it comes to different levels of awareness and becoming awakened, people don't realize that it's in stages. There are some people who get hit with a blinding light, speaking of light, and all of a sudden things become super clear. Oh, wow. This is the truth of the situation. Wow, I thought it was this, but now I know it's this. Now what are you going to do with that? Some people will go back to selective blindness because they can't handle what they see. You can't handle the truth. Or they're not ready, or they think they're not ready, or they're very comfortable in the state of blindness that they had been in. Once you are able to see, that gives you a responsibility about what you do, and what you do about things. Iri is the term that we use for action, but it is also the word for duty. When you act, it should be from a place of correctness and duty. All right? Sometimes there are some things that you have to do, right? You want to get paid, you got to go to work. When you have kids, you got to take care of them, ideally. If you can't, either do something about it, go get some parenting lessons, or some people have the wisdom to realize this ain't my gig, and hand the children off to somebody else who can take better care of them. That may seem like it's irresponsible, but listen, you should know your limitations. Not everybody is born to be a parent. I've seen it, okay? I've seen situations that have happened where I said, how in the world does this person call themselves a mother or a father and they're letting all this happen? Well, if they don't know because they didn't experience it, then you can't you can't really fault people who don't know. Although I have to say, there are other people too who say, you know what, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to go find out. I went through this when I was growing up. Therefore, I'm going to make sure I don't repeat the cycle because I know how I felt when I had parents that were not on top of things, were not pouring into me, were not nurturing me, were not looking out for my well-being. So I'm going to become the best person that I can be. Why? Because there's a new level of awareness. I have to do better. I have to do better. Sometimes that means to relegate to somebody else because you can't do it. Okay. You know, you can't fault somebody who is trying their best to run a marathon and both their legs are broken. Okay. Maybe they need some time to heal and then get back up in the race. But in the meantime, you do what you can from the place that you're at. And recognizing the limitations that you may have, that's also wisdom too. But you don't use your limitations as an excuse. All right? Wokeism. We went through this whole thing with George Floyd where activism took a new turn. People became enraged because of what they saw. Why? Because of the internet. Because now things can happen, and in seconds, we will know from around the world the atrocities that are going on. Mm-hmm. And people felt compelled to do something, to speak out. Although there were plenty of us, and are plenty of us, who have been activists for a long, long time. We're not surprised by the things that we saw. And, it wasn't just George Floyd, so many. But by the same token, we were very glad to see that there were other folks who recognized, hey, we got to do something. So how many of those folks are out here right now? But have carved a new identity for themselves because they were associated with these extreme measures and atrocities that took place. People who became critical of society, but then turned around and made a profit from these tragedies. Plenty, right? Then you have people who are on the internet who are claiming to be this, that, and the other, and who become awakened to a little bit of information. For instance, there are folks I know who will come on this format because they're trying to pick up some information, not so much to incorporate the lessons into their lives, but just so they can go to another forum and make it sound like they know what they're talking about. Those are the folks who have contributed to the term wokeism and have given being awake a bad name. We call being awake or resurrected in our tradition nechest. And it is awakening, but it's also the same. Isn't it amazing? It's the same word, resurrection and awakening. So you recognize that it is a beginning process, the beginning of a process. Okay? And it's part of the journey. Iwaper, the journey. So you hopefully will continue to grow because you remain consistent in your devotion, consistent in trying to make change to your inner world and your outer world, because once you start working on the inner self, then it has a direct bearing on how you conduct yourself in the world and the choices that you make and what you do, how you execute things, and how people are influenced by seeing what your life is like. Hmm. That's why actually that we don't proselytize in our tradition. That's another reason why wokeism has gotten a bad rap, because people will go around trying to make everybody believe that they're supposed to believe what they believe. Their point of view is the only one that is correct. And if you're really awake, then you know everybody has their path, everybody has their time and place of growth, acceleration, insight, action, and knowledge, and awake and movement. Okay. I've done a lot of introspection. Yes, Charlie, much opposition. There's, oh my goodness, there's so much opposition. People just excuse me, want to fight you just to prove they're right. There are certain battles that you get in because you're trying to set things aright, where you have to fight for yourself. You may have to fight for your family. You may have to fight for your community. You may have to fight for justice regarding the change of laws, the change of practices. When people are not doing their jobs that you have elected to be put in positions, I'm talking about from the local level first, okay? Even in schools, if you're involved in your child's school and there's a PTA or PTO and you got a president that's not doing the right job, what happens? You vote that person out, okay? But you have to be aware. Darlene, give thanks and praise, my sister. How are you this evening? Alafia to you as well. And y'all, please share. Please share that we are together here on the air this evening on this beautiful solstice night, this night of Nin. Okay, so this is what I've been thinking about. Let me say, number one, I've learned that in the water tradition, when you get dreams, they might not necessarily be saying, hey, go for this. In the water tradition, the Injutsu generally are trying to say, hey, this is a warning, okay? You may think it's going to be all sunshine and flowers, but it's not. You're about to be dragged through some mud, broken bottles, rusty nails, but the choice is yours. You've been warned, okay? It's a warning. I had a dream one time about this individual, and it was in sepia, right? All these things that showed me this person was not who they said they were, right? But there was a feeling that was attached to it, right? And I was just like, oh, wow, okay, so this must be a good sign. Oh, no, it was not. Thinking about that, this being a 10-year for me, 2014 was pivotal. I had a dream about this art studio that I ended up renting. And, the exact date that I was shown the studio was the same date associated with somebody else that was in the dream looking at the studio for me. Oh, wow. Okay. Got to go for this. Wow. And I asked for a year lease. It was supposed to be either 3 months or 6 months, because that's what was offered to this art. It was an artist studio. Okay. It wasn't, like the home studio. It was an artist studio where I had 24/7 access. And so I had my art there, and I also had my my yoga temple there, the Shenu Kemetic Yoga Temple there for the community, where I was doing free classes for the community. And why did I ask for a year lease? I said, in my hubris, I said, I'm grown. I don't need a 3 or 6 month lease. I need a year lease. Within like a month, I was like, what did I do? Oh my God. I'm in hell. I mean, there were some great things that happened, but looking back, it was pretty traumatizing. When that year was over, I did not renew my lease, And it was just like the beginning of escalation. Let me just tell you something else. Just before I came on, there's the whole thing with synchronicity and being aligned and how answers will come to you when you are aligned. Let me tell you, I was thinking back to, okay, 10 years ago. What happened? What happened? What happened? There was a person who used to follow me online, somebody who was in the community. And this person called me one day and she said, Queen Mother, I just want to let you know, I'm following you. I'm trailing you. And I am patterning myself after you. So basically she said, so I'm stalking you online. I said, why? She said, because she had heard that when you want to be successful, you pattern yourself after someone else who has the qualities that you want. And she said, I've been watching you for a while and I see how you conduct yourself online and how you draw people to you and so forth. And so I've been stalking you online. I said, well, thanks for telling me. Let me tell you something. Before we came on today, I was thinking about that, because that person ended up bringing other individuals into my life who had the same stalker qualities and worse, where it's been this whole nightmare, right? And before I came on, I remember I was like, so where did this person get this from? Don't you know? This video came up on my YouTube, what was already playing as I was getting ready. And so this brother says, Tony Robbins says, basically to do the things that this young lady had said she had learned to do from a motivational speaker. I stopped in my tracks. I said, she got it from Tony Robbins? Well, now I know. Now I know exactly everything this brother said that, this motivational speaker encouraged people to do is exactly what she told me, but she framed it as, so I'm stalking you online. Okay. I remember feeling very uncomfortable at that time. I finally was able to block that individual a year ago. Okay. The situation was not good. Warnings. And the aftermath when you don't listen or pay attention. You can spend more time unraveling all the junk that comes from it simply because of that one decision. I remember thinking then, should I block this person? And I didn't. And I should have. But there again is where we have wisdom. I'm grateful. And you should be grateful for the lessons that you get because it hones you. You become much more keen in how to conduct yourself. When I opened up, I was talking about learning energy patterns within water, fire, air, earth. There are so many. All of the great oracle systems that we have that come out of, particularly out of African community and the binary system, are based on understanding energetic patterns, understanding the various guardians, the Orisha, the Loa, the Necheru. They're all based on energy patterns and elements, and also wisdom walks. Okay? When you become awakened, it is based on your level of activity within something, being able to measure whether it is working for you or not, and then applying it. Okay? Wisdom is about practical application based on not only knowledge, but also experience. All right, so sometimes things don't go so well. Okay. But then what do you do when you realize they have not gone so well? There are certain groups that I had been a part of. Let me address this, and I'm going to say this as tactfully as I can. Groups where I was so anxious to join years ago. And where ultimately I found out that none of the people who were in leadership were what they thought I was, what I thought they were at all. At all. At all. And this came to so many different people who, over the years, I put so much stock in and had this whole other notion based on illusion of what they were. And then at times persisting within it, making excuses, trying to work around something, but then ultimately saying, well, why am I here? Do I need to be here? Is there another way I can be effective within the community without being part of these groups? Can I start my own group? Am I attached to other people who are movers and shakers and not in it for themselves? I had a very interesting experience today. I was drumming for a Kwanzaa celebration. It was a beautiful celebration in a beautiful facility, very well known, very popular. And so I was asked to drum along with this other brother. Now, drumming is always very telling when you deal with other drummers, and there's a difference between someone who's a drummer and a musician. With musicianship, there is more acute listening. There is more of a sense of community and understanding that you are creating miracles in music for the listener together. It's a wonderful thing when professional musicians get together and when we have jam sessions. There's nothing like it. It's talking about elevating, truly, because you're bringing your levels of expertise to creating good music and working together and vibing together. In drumming, so like in various aspects of drumming, there is what we have called, what those of us who are female drummers have called testosterone drumming, where it is all about louder, harder, faster, and where it's all about me, me, me. And the individual is not concerned with the community of drummers. They're just concerned with themselves, which actually creates disharmony. You can have people who end up drumming along with the person, and being supportive, but that energy flow is just not there. Why? Because the focus in drumming is supposed to be about the community. That's the way that it was in ancient times. That's the way it is now. Drumming, just like with all other instruments, brings healing, brings awareness, brings alignment. Every one of these instruments that I have here, and I have many, they all have their purpose in what they bring, whether it is a wind instrument, whether it is the guitar, whether it is all the varieties of percussion that I have here. They all bring their special healing abilities based on not only the instrument itself, but also who is playing it and what their intention is, and also what their level of expertise is within it. So I had the experience today of drumming with somebody who was just not on the same page, and so it was a little challenging, but it made me think of the disharmony that has happened in so many of the different communities that exist today, where people say that they are awake and in truth are not. Y'all follow what I'm saying? And if you are in a group where people are there basically because it's a cult of personality and people just want to be attached because of the name and the notoriety, right? Then that means that they're going to let the leader get away with anything because their goal is to stay attached to that name. right? Because they put their identity into that individual and all of the attention that that individual gets, and so now they feel they're special simply because of the fact that they are attached in some way to that individual. Well, what about you? Where is your growth in that? Now, I'm not saying that when you are working for advancement that you should not be a team player. You need to be a team player. But listen, I've shared before about the principle of leadership from the perspective of Hatmeit, who was the original guardian who wore the fish crown, she of the full breast, she of um, um, fullness, she of abundant heart, she of abundant love. Um, uh, she's of community. The school of fish that travels together, and there's one that's in the lead, but then eventually it pulls back, another one takes its place. Okay, it shifts, there's shifting. Everybody gets to experience what it is to be in leadership, but also they recognize the fact that they have to be prepared to step up, right? And then even being in the rear, there's responsibility in that as well, whether you're up here, over here, or back here. There's that flow. Okay, and also acknowledging that others can do this too. There's the whole thing about grooming people for leadership. That's so important. We have a lot of people today who are kind of stuck in old ideologies when it comes to activism. I personally am of the idea that we don't need to be marching anymore. That's just me. Okay. Well, no, it's not just me. There are a lot of people I found out, like the elder I was talking to the other day, who is the head of our lineage. I was sharing some things with him. He was just like, it's a new day and time. It's the same thing that people have been saying. We need solutions. We need action. And we don't necessarily need to put it on Front Street by doing a march. Marching has its purpose, right? Look at all the attention that came from all the George Floyd marches all over the world. But then the question is, where are we now? Where are we now? Was there enough teaching about what leadership in your community is, and working to be able to truly shift perceptions so the community can heal, so the atrocities will stop happening, and so that people will not just be in it for the moment of glory or the moment of sympathy, and not being able to sustain a movement, to sustain shifting. Okay. Charlene, I saw where you said regarding the drumming, yes, one can feel it. Right. You feel each other. You feel each other. When you deal with groups where everything is externalized, the causes are externalized, but the people within the group are suffering, and their pain is being ignored by the group, that's not healthy. It's not realistic. It's not right. I always say that when your family is hungry, you feed your family first. You don't go shopping and then walk the groceries across the street or across town or mail it off across the world and your family's still sitting there hungry. No, no, no. You feed your family first. So the wokeism movement has not really been helpful, not to those of us who have been out here truly seeking higher consciousness, truly seeking to make change in the community. And I don't mean doing lip service activism, where you're just doing it because you got this grant, and you don't do this particular thing and get the photos to go along with it, then you're not going to get the money. No, that's not activism. That's selfishness. That's your motivation. It's just a photo op and tokenism, right? Token gestures. Integrity and intention are tied into also being truly awake. Now, what about the Hoteps? Well, what are the Hoteps? They're not Kemites, okay? They are not people who are truly living the Kemetic tradition. Hoteps, from my observation, are folks who have fallen into a fad, who get a little bit of knowledge, don't continue to do the research and the internalization that is required to have a better understanding, a deeper understanding, a true understanding of the various principles that they're talking about, and set themselves up as their own poobah in order to make it seem as though they're in the know. Mm-mm. Hoteps have done a lot of damage to our community as well. People assume that everybody who is Kemetic is elitist, homophobic. What else? Oh, thugs. The elite thugs, okay? And why? Because they use the term Hotep. That makes them deep. Not understanding that Hotep means peace, but with sacrifice. Once you become awakened, you recognize that you have an obligation to be better and do better for yourself, for your family, for your community, and that you must also make change or work to affect positive change in the community. And that doesn't come from trying to beat people over the head with philosophies. It comes from the works that you do. In our tradition, we focus on sacrifice being the actions that you do to help improve your world from a genuine place. Okay? Doesn't mean that you go out trying to get fanfare and say, I did this. Everything, posted up on social media. I know there are a lot of times y'all don't see me. And that's because I'm out here doing the work. Or I'm sick. One or the other. But for those who've wondered, yeah, there are a lot of times I'm just out here. I'm connecting with other people who are doing the work. Yeah. And you find that those of us who are about doing the work are not obsessed with putting it on social media. Social media has its place. It brings awareness and it inspires others. But must everything be about what social media is going to say or do because of what you've posted, as opposed to just quietly doing something low key, making sure it gets done? That's when you truly become awakened. This is not bragging on myself. I'm just saying, it used to be, look, listen, 10 years ago, yeah, slap everything up on social media. It's not like that now. Even as I was drumming today, I said to myself, this is such a big event. And I'm sure there are some great photos that'll come out of this. Such a handsome body in my camera. I was like, I don't feel like doing that. I want to be in the moment. I want to just enjoy this. And I'm sure, listen, people who are with cameras or whatever, it'll show up somewhere on the internet. I don't know, but I know I was there. People who were there know I was there. And it doesn't necessarily mean they had to know who I was. I was there providing a service for the community. Give thanks. Um, but also in looking at all the groups that I have been associated with. Charles Hampton, peace and blessings to you. Thank you for being here. So for all the groups that I've been associated with, and I've been through many. Oh Lord, these last 10 years, I've been in a lot of groups. And I'm the kind of individual, because I'm Piscean, I've had to learn the lessons of Pisces. I wanted to cut it off, right? We can be too forgiving. We'll think, okay, well, I'll just give them another chance, and it's not that certain people don't deserve new chances, but if they keep on messing up and you keep being a casualty, why are you staying there and continuing to be bludgeoned? That's what I had to ask myself, right? So, and there are certain groups though where immediately I would feel the energy. I'd be like, I gotta go. I've been in some big name groups too. I mean, really big name groups and organizations. And for me, it's just like, listen, especially at this point, you get to a point where it's like, how much more are you going to endure? There's that wisdom piece again. So, am I going to worry about what people say because I quit? Or am I just going to preserve myself, get myself back on the right road and deal with other people who are trying to make this world a better place and who are about sustaining your healing? If you're around people who are just trying to break you down, use you, you're just a tool. You are just a tool. You need to get up and go. If you're a tool as opposed to an individual, that's a problem. Now, there are a lot of people I've observed who are in the Hotep realm who are very much back to the whole thing, like with the wokeism, where it's about just doing what benefits them and then getting everybody else to fall in line along with that. We have so much knowledge on the planet now. And there's been so much brokenness that has been caused by so many of these groups, whether you're talking about activists, whether you're talking about the spiritual groups. We talked a little bit about church hurt recently on here, but we have ATR hurt too, serious ATR hurt, where these different leaders, groups have done so much damage. I am a victim. I've been victimized. I'm not a victim. I've been victimized by several of these groups in the name of seeking after Black consciousness, in the name of trying to fix things in our community, in the name of trying to get back what was taken from us culturally. And so many times we'll get involved and really thinking that we're filling a hole, but actually digging a bigger hole for ourselves. And now we're wounded. Now we're super wounded. We were wounded before. Now we're super wounded, right? But you're hanging in there for the sake of solidarity because you're thinking that this is what you're supposed to do. No. We need to get to another place. We need to do better. I'm always talking about therapy. Love my therapist. Go twice a week, sometimes even 3 times a week now. Why? Because I'm focused on my healing and making sure I don't repeat these patterns again. Because I know better now and I want to learn and do even better. And I'm not going to be out here pretending that I'm some altogether person, okay? I'm still in the process of healing, but I'm working on it every day, every single day. Once you have been wounded, then you don't want to go, you really don't want to go back to it unless you're in that cycle where you're just so used to being wounded that that's the pattern that you know and that's what you stay in. But truly being awake means that you recognize, okay, this is wrong. And in order for me to correct it, that means I've really got to be willing and courageous enough and strong enough to do the work, to know when to walk away, to know when to cleave to those who have true integrity, okay? And those who care about my well-being and who are going to help to sustain all the work I continue to do on myself. Do you have people in your world who are helping to sustain you and your healing, your wellness, who want what is best for you, who are not sitting back like they're in the bleachers with popcorn just watching your life fall apart, and some sit back with glee? Who's in your circle? Always comes to that. Always. Now, what do those of us who are Kemites or in the ATRs in general, the African traditional religions, those of us who relate to those teachings, those of us who have incorporated those teachings into our lives, and those of us who care about protecting the integrity of these traditions and who also understand what works. What works. I was looking through my prayer book, my personal prayer book today. I have a few different personal prayer books. This is one of them where I have handwritten prayers that I've done and symbols and so forth. And I look back on everything and I can remember the time frame where I ended up writing these prayers or uh, jotting down these notes. Um, um, I can associate it with something that happened in my life that brought me to a new level of understanding about what that was about. Okay. I know within myself, I feel that the Kemetic tradition is worth saving. It is. Why? It works. And not just because it works, but because you'll find within it the culmination of the best of the ATRs. Okay. And the fact that it had a direct bearing on so many other world religions. This is not to proselytize. I'm just sharing my experience with you and why I am willing to stand up and, yes, fight for, defend this practice. What does that mean? I'm not going to get online and argue with people. I don't do that. Okay. It was never about that. When that whole thing started, geez, that was like with the advent of Facebook. And so this was like in '07. You started to see people who were really just coming for each other online, trying to prove how woke they were, you know? And all it did was bring confusion. Now, I am willing, in the right circumstances, to explain something, okay? But I'm not going to be out here like the Crusaders in trying to force um, my beliefs on someone else. However, truth is truth. And when you explain things from a place of historical truth and then bring your cultural experience into it, and you don't have to go into everything. I mean, people want to know more, you can share more, right? But just from a place of historical truth, that's a great beginning. And just a little bit here, that's it. Okay. when those of us who have been in the tradition for all these decades started wearing the ankh, now everybody wears it. It was a big deal. It was almost considered like an act of anarchy or something because it was such a bold statement, because it was the reclamation, jabu, the reclamation of our culture. These are the cultural symbols, even the serpent, and getting people to understand that this is not, listen, historically, this was not evil. This was aligned with women's wisdom. All right, do the research, find out the truth. But back when we started wearing these, it was just such a big deal. Now you see people, like, you go on any Christian broadcast and see people wearing ankhs. Uh, People who are into Buddhism, people from all different walks, because there's a greater understanding now of what it is. For those of us who have been faith practitioners, we know that there are several deep meanings behind it. But to understand, at least to a degree, what the very basic meaning is of it, that's a big deal. Why? Because the tradition was absolutely vilified. There was a wonder that started about it in the 70s because of Earth, Wind, and Fire having the beautiful album covers that celebrated the glories of Kemet, and so many others who incorporated it. And of course, you had Sun Ra, Space is the Place. I mean, his whole thing was also getting people to a new level of awareness about Kemetic culture. This is our culture, it's our history. It's our history. But then we fell into the whole, back into this whole thing of completely vilifying it. And yes, I still have problems today with some of the interfaith groups that I belong to, because I'm always the only person of the Kemetic faith. It's always announced. Well, there's one group I belong to, Queen Mother Imaku, who is the only person from the Kemetic faith who is here among us. I still have problems with people who automatically assume, oh, ancient Egyptians, they did this, that, and the other. Well, again, do your research. I can't fight that. It's ingrained. I understand. I came out of that years ago, so I understand exactly what the teachings are. But then when you come to a place where historically what happened, and also the questions that are out there about how certain Christian practices and beliefs came to be, and actually when you find out that a lot of the practices and symbols that they used came directly out of Kemetic culture, gives you deeper insight. Yes, I am devoted to being part of interfaith ministerial groups, not only because I'm a minister, not only because I recognize that it does bring a new level of awareness and tolerance to people who are very unaware of what this practice is, but also because I'm connecting, though, with people who are about the work. That's the bottom line. During the pandemic, I could not reach out to people in the ATRs. This is another thing where there has to be growth. I couldn't reach out to to people in the ATRs to get food for people in my community. The folks who had the information were in the interfaith group, and these were ministers of churches large and small, and a very valuable and necessary network that called on, what do I want to say, deeper understanding and patience and tolerance on my part, in understanding, okay, these people are going to think that you're strange, you're going to think that you're evil simply because of the teachings that they have had. But being exposed to me has led people to a different way of thinking. My being able to share Kemetic scriptures that predated the Christian, the Bible scriptures. When I'm asked to pray or when I'm asked to speak at these interfaith groups, it helps to provide more information for people to be able to draw from, and not assume that just because that's her practice, that she must be demonic. So it's kind of a two-way thing, right? And as we build fellowship, because we have this same ultimate goal of wanting to see our world better, of reaching to our higher power to ask for the energy to come. What in the world is this? This is not what I had. Music just jumped the rails. I did that. But the idea is ultimately we all have the same goal of wanting to see our world, our communities, our governments better. And also recognizing that we, as people of the cloth, have a trust that is given to us by people in the community who want to be better, who want to find inner peace, who want to be around better people, who also need resources. And active interfaiths will put people in touch with their needs, basic needs. Not one of these things also where, oh, you guys sit and hear this sermon for 6 hours and then we'll give you a donut. No. Where you meet a person's needs without trying to proselytize. That is what makes people think, hey, okay, so what are you about? It's cool that you're able to come in and provide all of these meals for the community, or that you provided this, right? But doing it without trying to sign people up. Come to my service, come to my church, right? Come to my group. No. You give because there's a need. People will see your heart when you're genuine. And that's the beginning of turning on that heart light within individuals. Why? Because the heart light within you is genuine and wants to heal. So on this evening of stillness and introspection and celebration of the light, let's remember what works for us, what we can do that is beneficial to ourselves, our families, our neighborhoods, our world. And let's do what we can to make this place better for us all, especially now. Especially now. Any questions? Give thanks. I had to face many of the misperceptions and the erroneous teachings that I also received over the years based on what people thought being comedic, being an activist meant. This notion that, to be like a set, that means you got to be ride or die. No. Again, research. Once I started doing the research, I said, wow, a lot of the choices I made in my life would have been a lot different had I known. Set, she was loyal, yes. But she had enough insight and she learned her lessons She had to deal with lessons of not being so naive. She gave her brother-in-law, if you will, Satesh, so many chances that he did not deserve. She felt compassion for him because she was like, well, he's family. Okay, I mean, he's her brother, really. But after a while, she realized, oh, shoot, he's like this. If he's like this, then that means I can't allow this, this, and this, right? Because she was so kind and loving, but she was coming from a place of not really getting it. As powerful as she was, once she got it, then she became empowered, and she had greater insight about how to handle this particular kind of energy. That's what we need to focus on. Again, wisdom lessons, right? Oh, Jennifer, give thanks. Give thanks. You know, we've been through a lot as individuals. We've been through a lot. On our planet, we've been through a lot. There's a lot of fear right now because of the changes that are taking place. And there's a strong sense of hopelessness that many carry. I say this because we're in a place of greater knowledge and we have greater access to each other, there's more of a likelihood of being able to overcome because of all the light that is on the planet, and being able to connect with others who feel the same way, knowing who your real friends are. You know, in the book of Ankh Shanki, it says, may I know my brother and sister that I may share my goods with them, right? So understanding exactly who your brother and sister is, you know, and there's a saying, you know, just be your kinfolk ain't necessarily your skin folk ain't necessarily your kinfolk. I've learned that the hard way. Just because somebody looks like you doesn't mean they have your best intentions in mind. All right, let's do our closing ritual. Word for ritual in the Kemetic language is kesu. We're going to be doing our Huey Kadest a little different today. You got your red beverage or even some water right now. And also a little teeny piece of bread. Instead of doing our usual invocation, we're going to be doing a series of affirmations in the Kemetic language. Kemetic language is powerful. It's beautiful. And before we do them, I want you to just take a moment and think of the good lessons that you have gotten from this last decade, even 15 years. I've had so many full circle moments over the last couple of weeks where I've been brought back to different situations and give thanks. I've been able to re-enter some of those spaces, but also just to be able to just to sit back and fully assess and say, okay, this time is done. But I'm grateful for the lesson, because had I not gone through it, then I would not be in this space of strength and determination and truly wisdom that I'm in right now. Give thanks. Would I want to live through it again? Oh no. I'm doing everything I can to make sure I don't. But again, there are riches. There are riches in the lesson. And I feel joy, I feel happiness. I feel at peace. Even though you may have people who are trying to still just wreck your curve. You know, there's really something when there are people who are so fixated on what they think you are or who they think you are, and they're way off base. but they expend so much energy in trying to hurt you. But you've moved on with your life, right? Listen, keep yourself guarded, yes, but don't give your foes yourself, your energy, because the fact that they're stuck. Okay? Move on with your life. In spite of everything that's going on right now in this country, we've seen worse. Our ancestors not only survived it, but many thrived through it. Not dwelling on the energy, but focusing on just getting themselves together and progressing forward. I believe that we're in that time now. Let's get educated economically, socially, okay? Let's find out who we should be working with, who is of integrity, who is the individual that may stab you in the back, the chest, the throat, and then push you down and stomp on you. You want to avoid those people, right? Cleave to those who are in a place of hopefulness, joy, and vision. Vision. Ma'ah is the root of ma'at. Ma'ah means to see, but that also means to have vision. But that is also associated with someone who is a seer, a prophet, someone who is gifted with seeing what is coming. Pay attention to that too. Remember that our reading for the year was Rayette, who speaks. She is the blinding light, if you will, the super strong radiant light of the female aspect of Ray. She's even stronger than Ray, but she illuminates. Her blinding heat brings intensity, but also it allows you to be able to clearly see. And then also the other part of our oracle was ancestors, hearkening to the traditions and wisdom of our ancestors. This is why it's important for us to do what we need to do to clean up the ATRs, to live according to a different standard. Those of us who have gone through ATR hurt, do the work on yourself to continue healing and getting yourself together for your sake, but also for the sake of your family and community. Okay? Give thanks and praise. All right. All right, let's take some cleansing breaths. Inhale. Sadek. Nifa. Sadek. Nifa. Sadek. Nifa. Relax your breathing. Maria, I'm going to email you as soon as we're done. For those of you who have your bread, we know this to be the body of consciousness, of greater consciousness. I want you to focus on this being yourself. Don't think you're all being animalistic. No, this is just an exercise in recognizing your own worth and the worth of your body as a vessel. And by the way, my next message will probably be dealing with the damage that the New Age community has done to ATRs too. Yeah, it would have been too much to go into all that today. I want you to envision your body as being healthy and strong, healing, and blessed. Those of us who have challenges, this may sound awkward, but it's a truth. In spite of the challenges that we have, there are always people who are worse off than we are. I have found people with more challenges than me who are some of the most secure, happy folks who accept the limitations of the body, but not of the mind. Let's say Ankuja Seneb, life, health, strength. Ankuja Seneb, Ankuja Seneb. Speak it over the bread. Ankuja Seneb, life, health, strength. Ankuja Seneb. And let's eat. Unem. Take your cup. Speaking into the cup and focusing on it connecting with the water and the blood that runs through your body. And let's say, Anuk Nefrit. I am good, beautiful, and successful. Keperni imeneni nefret. I create and solidly maintain goodness, success, beauty, prosperity, and happiness. Kaini, I rise. Nen esfet. Nen means stillness, and it is the term for the solstice, but it's also a word that means no. No more. Nen. Nen esfet. No to chaos, rejecting chaos. Ankni em mayet. I live orderly and harmoniously. Anuk and Tisek. I am undiminishing. I am indestructible, incorruptible, never failing. Anuk we emwe. Her mektini nu netri. I am one with the one. Therefore, I have divine intentions. Let me say that again. Anuk we emwe. I am one with the one. Her, therefore, mechni nu netri. I have divine intentions. Anuk ka. I am focused. Mektni jes. I have control over myself. Mechni sharme. I have peace and freedom. Merniches. I love myself. Kaini. I rise. Kaini. I rise. Kaini. I rise. And we chant Ankh 3 times. Ankh. 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 Baba, drink. This is my sorrel. I've got little pieces of star anise in it. And hold up your cup. This is you also. Remember that you are a divine vessel. What you choose to put into your life, who you choose to put into your life, matters. Anuk Imaku, I am a divine vessel. Anuk Imaku, I am a divine vessel. Anuk Imaku, I am a divine vessel. Give thanks and praise. That concludes our service for today. If you want more information, then please let me share. This is my website. Take a moment to ground yourself. Sarek. Nifa. Sarek. Nifa. Sarek. Nifa. Relax your breathing. Here's my website. And the website for Shanu. ShanuLiving.com. If you'd like to find out more about how to live the culture, how we begin, how we sustain the basic tenets of our faith, tenets, Tenets, of our faith, then please reach out. The online Kemetic yoga classes are available next week. They will be pre-recorded. Why? Wisdom, okay? I have great intentions about coming on a lot of times. And other times, my schedule as a minister takes me someplace else. My body says, nah. But having things pre-recorded, I found, was the best way of being able to consistently share information, and you're able to access it when you're ready. And I actually have a lot of joy in creating those video classes. When I was doing them, oh gosh, I was last offering them some years back. I enjoyed it. And I have a new camera now. And I'm grateful and looking forward to all this pre-recorded content that will be uploaded and available and at your disposal. Um, the information will be on the website. I'll be sharing that tomorrow. Okay. Okay. Jennifer, thank you. I'm so glad that you were here, and I hope that you come back and join us. And to all of you, Penny, hello. Give thanks and praise. To all of you, thank you. Please share this on various platforms. Don't keep this to yourself. And but again, only in places where it's not going to be like you're imposing on somebody. I'm real big on that. Okay, make sure it's in spaces where you feel it would be welcome. And also, listen, I have a whole bunch of new music. I've been busy in the studio, and I have a new look to my website. Light. My birth name is Elaine, and Elaine means heavenly light. Heavenly light. I'm named after my great aunt Elaine, who was a grand woman, as were the rest of the women in my grandmother's lineage. And to have the name Elaine is an honor, and to fully live in that space of light, because you go through the water, and trust me, part of the process then is being able to fully embrace the light. You understand the role of darkness. Darkness births light. I see this last 10-year cycle as a long rebirthing process. And so I am very grateful. So you'll see the whole look is different, and on my social media platforms as well. So all right. And Penny, I hope you come back as well. And for all of you who are here for the first time, you are welcome. And um, is a place of enrichment and a fellowship, um, and a place of growth. And the information that I share is one that I hope you'll be able to successfully incorporate into your everyday life, no matter what your tradition is. So, for those of you who want to take it further, then pero no, let's go. All right. So, have a blessed night. And um, I'm just so happy in this moment. Just when it comes to the place where it's time to just let certain things just drop off, and you feel all of the baggage just gone. Give thanks. All right. All right, Marie, I'm going to be connecting with you in a few minutes. And so we conclude by saying Merea, which means much love. Heri, which means be at peace. Um, Teni is a symbol for Teni, which means to be accountable. And Jebewi was the original peace symbol. It wasn't this, which is divided. This is energy together. This is the symbol for peace, the original peace symbol, and mercy and compassion, which you should apply appropriately to yourself first. And also know who is worthy of having grace and compassion extended to. That's the other big lesson. Because truthfully, not everybody's worthy of it, okay? So be careful about how you wield that power. All right. Thank you, Cannabis. Thank you again so much for being here. It's good to see you again. Have a blessed, blessed evening to you all. Merea, much love.